Hi, welcome to today's webinar, Expert Chat on Selling Romance, Destination Weddings, and Honeymoons. I'm Paloma Villaverde de Rico, Editor-in-Chief of Recommend Magazine, and I'll be moderating this webinar, which is made possible by Recommend Magazine, as well as a few partners, including AM Resorts, Asta, The Confidant Miami Beach, La Colección Resorts by Fiesta Americana, Iberostar, and the St. Lucia Tourism Authority. This webinar serves as a complement to the Romance Travel Trends survey that was conducted on recommend.com, as well as the Romance Travel Trends report, which starting today is available for download from the handout section of the webinar. During this conversation with our panelists, we'll speak about romance travel trends and how COVID-19 has impacted what couples are seeking when it comes to romance travel. But before we begin, a few housekeeping items. During the presentation, feel free to enter your questions in the question box. We'll gather them together and hold a Q&A at the end of the presentation. And don't worry if you miss something, this webinar is being recorded and you will receive a link via email to access the recording at your own leisure. And a link to the Romance Travel Trends report will be included in the follow-up email. And, drumroll please, one webinar attendee will win a 3-night stay at the adults-only Iberostar Grand Paraíso in Riviera Maya. This includes premium beverages, 24-hour gourmet dining, taxis, and all non-motorized water sports. So let's start this webinar by having the panelists introduce themselves. Richard, if you will kick off the conversation.
Thank you, Paloma, and to your entire team. Thank you so much for having me. Richard Moss. I've been in the hospitality business for about 25 years at all different levels and the different facets, from hotels to the attraction sector, and certainly now as a destination marketing organization, the St. Lucia Tourism Authority, where I serve as Senior Sales Manager for the US and the rest of North America. Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you, Richard. And Lauren?
Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Doyle. I am owner of The Travel Mechanic in the Raleigh area, specialize in honeymoons and destination weddings, and I can't wait to chat about it.
Awesome. Thank you, Lauren, for being here. And Kristen is actually joining us, as you can probably tell, from a fabulous destination, along with her hubby. Kristen, take it away.
Hi, I am Kristen Perry, and I am originally, or actually full-time, live in Birmingham, Alabama. I am the owner of Classic Travel Connection, and this is my husband, Rob, and we are on location in Costa Rica, and we are having our 29th anniversary this week, and we're celebrating all over the country. So I am so excited to be here. Love talking about travel, love talking about romance travel, and love traveling with my husband. So we're excited to talk about that.
Thank you so much for taking the time. Hi, Rob. Rob will have quite a few things to say, I'm sure, during the conversation. Anyway, so let's kick off with the first question. And Kristen, if you could respond first. How are bookings right now? Romance and maybe a little bit beyond romance. What's going on?
So we are seeing, and I think everyone in the travel industry is seeing the same trends, but we are seeing 2019 plus trends happening right now in the industry. We're seeing bookings sometimes hard to keep up. I think we were talking before the webinar, Lauren, you said you need, what did you say? You needed 10 of you to keep up with what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I could clone myself, but that's such a good problem to have given last year in the travel industry. So we are just, I think I can speak for everyone who's so grateful that travel is coming back and there's a great energy out there, especially for our honeymoons, anniversary trips, and anything travel romance related.
And Richard, what's going on in St. Lucia? How are bookings to the island?
Well, you know, it's such an exciting time. And I just saw the pride in Kristen's eyes when she says, I'm in Costa Rica. She said it with her best Spanish accent. Did you realize? Because travel is something that keeps us growing, keeps us inspired. And so I have to say, Kristen, that is on my bucket list as well. But in St. Lucia, we're really seeing the light. We've certainly been open for 12 months now. and our protocols have been quite consistent. And I think now we are actually seeing a lot more interest, particularly with the new attractions that we've introduced, and certainly the evolution of the products, because many of our hotels have actually taken the opportunity to improve their product and their services as well. But I have to tell you, I mean, figures do speak, and we in May saw an 81% recovery. And I'm not talking about on 2020, let's erase 2020 if we can, and business-wise, but 81% of what we saw in May 2019, which was a record-breaking year for the entire Caribbean region. So we're really now seeing the light, and certainly we're very excited to support the trade. Thank you very much, Asta, and all the other sponsors and organizations that are part of this webinar for today. So very, very exciting for us.
Wow, those are incredible numbers. I mean, that's really, really great. It really is. Congratulations on that. And how, Lauren, Christian, and then Richard as a destination, how did you guys keep the clients engaged throughout the year? Lauren, what did you do this past year to keep them engaged?
Yeah, so I really just took to Instagram because I think we were all on our phones more, but I just showed up every day. I showed up in the dark days. I showed up on the days that I was sad, the days after canceling trip after trip, but I showed up, and I think my followers grew to like me, get to know me, and they ended up trusting me because now they're coming out of the woodworks and you know, brand new clients that I've never known, and they're following me on Instagram. So I think for advisors out there that are listening, you know, I think being authentic is so important in this day and age. And as we all recover from 2020, which is mentally and, you know, physically and whatever, we want that authenticity.
Yeah, I think both you and Kristen do a great job of really, it's you. Yes, you are travel advisors and you're selling this service, but it's also about what's going on with you, which I think is just so genuine, and it feels genuine. It's not just, it's just really wonderful. Kristen, how did you keep your clients engaged?
A lot like Lauren, actually, and I'm like you, Lauren, also. I worked every day of 2020. I sat down at my desk and I worked from in the morning until in the evening, and you know, there weren't a lot of vacations to book, but there was a lot of work to be done in the business to be ready for what's happening today. And so same thing, we really upped our social media game. We created a lot of email templates to be able to just a lot of email campaigns, and just we're able to really engage with our clients. We wrote handwritten notes, just, hey, you know, we miss you and we can't wait to plan your next vacation, and we know this is not easy for you right now, and we just wanted to let you know we're thinking about you. So we just tried to engage with them and to connect with them in different ways, because life is very different for so long.
That's definitely one thing from this past year. The silver lining, so to speak, is we all became that much more tech savvy. You know, that's for sure, which is always great for our jobs, you know. And Richard, how did St. Lucia engage? You did amazing things throughout the year, but if you could let us know a few of them.
Thank you. And Lauren and Kristen are right on the money. Absolutely, that authenticity is so important. And being authentic does not mean you need to be negative if you're feeling negative. You know, there's always a way to spin it. And so you are running a business at the end of the day. So it has to be authentic, but there's some balance to it. For us, we definitely employed that. And what made this so challenging is that the tone had to be varied. I'm sorry, I'm drawing on the screen, but you know what I mean. There were times when we were up, there were times we were, and you had to make sure that the message would resonate accordingly. And so we employed several campaigns. So one was She Is Waiting, because you know St. Lucia is the only country named for a woman. And so our one job we realized was just to inspire. And then as you've connected the dots with Kristen and Lauren's strategy, once you're inspired, then you can influence. So it's that drip, 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 drip feed. You can't tell everybody everything all at the same time, and all clients are different. And so today we're drip feeding this, tomorrow we're drip feeding that. But the whole theme of inspiring folks And even adding elements like gratitude was just so important. And as we've all learned, it's the brands that did not turn off the lights that will hopefully be able to make that conversion. And so it was also very important to not always be in a hard sell mode. So sometimes it was soft sell, but at other times we were just human beings having a conversation. And so that is really the way we did it. And I have to say, our virtual road shows really caused us to dig a lot deeper into who we are as a destination. And we've also learned some new skills. We've always been on social media and tried to have a very strong digital footprint. And so now we're just enhancing that.
That's awesome. And on that note, what are some of the lessons you've learned throughout this past year and this past crisis, or this crisis that we're sort of still in?
Is that for me, Paloma?
Yep.
So we're resilient. We're absolutely resilient. And if we take the time to learn the lessons, and if we know our audience and speak to them accordingly, then we certainly can win the war. It's not really about the battles, but certainly winning the war. I know my language doesn't sound exactly romantic. Let's switch it up a bit. But it's really keeping, and I love the fact that you've done this research, because we've noticed that our booking windows are much shorter than before. And as we know, there are certain challenges in other markets. And so we're looking forward to what some of my hoteliers in St. Lucia have pointed out may very well be the very best summer ever. And so in business, it's really about preparing yourself to make the very best of what comes, in addition to your strategy. You know what I mean? So that whole thing of being resilient and being flexible to take advantage of what is available is truly important. I mean, we recently launched three new routes from New York, a new nonstop from New Jersey on JetBlue, and Dallas, Texas. I mean, who knew that coming out of 2020, this is what we would have been doing? But at the end of the day, it really is about following that data, feeding that data to our partners, because even with having a lot of consumers in the Midwest and on the West Coast that want to come to St. Lucia, there's a huge St. Lucian diaspora in Texas. And so it's making sure that we are being very strategic and following that data. And so that's a bit of what we've learned, which I think makes us stronger and makes every destination management organization stronger as well.
For certain. And Kristen, what lessons learned?
I actually, Richard took the words right out of my mouth. Resilience. You know, we learned that we are more resilient than we give ourselves credit for. We learned that we are more flexible than we give ourselves credit for. And also, what I learned is that I never want to be in a place where I was as unprepared as what I was when March of 2020 came. And so I took the time to do the things in my business. And obviously, you know, there are things that we can't be prepared for, but I think there are some things that we can do that can help us make those changes more quickly when these kind of surprises come along, and that help us to learn how to make better decisions the next time. And so I think it was just taking the time to realize that we need to make some changes in the industry and in the business. And I think that that's probably what I learned the most as far as business goes. Learned lots of things personally too, but that's for a different day.
That's for sure. And Lauren, lessons learned?
I think, I mean, obviously we all were tested resilient and persevere through the tough times, and the strong ones are going to make it through. But I think having that pause and that literal like stop of travel made me take a step back from my business and look back to my why, look back to my core. And that's what got me through some of those hard days, just taking that step back, because now there's not going to be any more pauses here in the near future. Travel's picking back up so fast, and I'm so glad and learned to kind of take that pause, get my systems even more tightened up, and you know, and now we're kind of really, I'm excited and prepared for the near future that we're dealing with now and in the near future.
Excellent, excellent. And I wanted to remind the audience that you can start sending in your questions. And now let's take a deep dive into romance travel. So how are you selling romance travel right now, Lauren? What's your overall approach? Who's booking honeymooners, weddings? What's going on?
Yeah, so I think, you know, we really have to think about the client and the bride. And I've had lots of conversations because a 2020 bride has a broken heart. At some point, they've had to cancel. Maybe it was such a happy time in their life that they just got engaged and it just felt different. They couldn't celebrate with friends and family. So I think really tapping in to how they feel, and if now they're ready to plan something and get an amazing honeymoon, taking care of them, really saying, listen, we've learned that you know, cancellations can happen. How can we make this amazing for you? Since you had to cancel your wedding, now you're just ready to go on an island or go to Mexico and get married. We're going to make that amazing for you and seamless. So I think just realizing that it's really been tough for engaged couples, relating to them on that way, and then getting them excited that yes, you can travel, yes, you can cross things off your bucket list, and we're here to help them.
And Kristen?
How are we engaging our romance travel? We're doing that again through social media, but just Lauren, when you were talking, our middle daughter was a COVID bride, and we had a destination wedding plan for she and her now husband, and they ended up 8 of us on a farm down the road, you know, getting married and having a wedding. So now we're looking at replanning that for December of this year, a whole year and a half later. So I mean, there are so many couples that have postponed, and they are excited about finally getting to have the wedding of their dreams. And so it is, you know, reaching out and connecting with them. But I've had more destination wedding bookings in the last few weeks than I have in almost ever. So
that's amazing. That's great to hear. Yeah. And now, are these in the trend survey, in the trends report that we wrote, we heard from a lot of the executives within the industry saying that a lot of the destination weddings are smaller in terms of group size. Are you all seeing it? Richard, are you seeing that on Island as well?
We are not a mass tourism sort of destination, and we have a lot of smaller boutique properties, some of which are quite luxurious. And so we've typically not had those very large weddings to begin with. However, what you do find is that there are quite a number of buyout situations. So for instance, one resort that has 30 rooms or 30 cottages will have a wedding. And by the way, what you're finding is that, I mean, every bride wants their day. So those resorts that make it one wedding a day or make it very special tend to do very well. You also find that with the given protocols, that once you're on resort, you are considered to be in a bubble. So it really doesn't affect the party size. However, to the points that were made earlier, I think folks who had cancellations have found a good way to marry being at home, the best of being at home, and the best of being away. And being away means that everybody is now having, can I say this? Everybody's now having like an Indian wedding, which lasts over a few days, yes. Days of adventures in the rainforest, ATVs, the spa day with the mimosa brunch. So it's like, no offense to anyone that's Indian, I just wanted to make the distinction. So you're seeing a lot of that. But yes, I think folks are now, particularly where we are in terms of vaccinations, I think there are still some members of the family who are not yet comfortable. And we know this because there was just, COVID-19 really was just, the result was just a catastrophic loss of confidence to travel for some folks. And we've been seeing that rebuild from flying to being on resort, etc. And the more of us that have traveled have really helped to inject and engender that confidence. So I still think there are a few folks that are not yet comfortable, but they will get there. So you are seeing a few of the guests that are probably not showing up, but they're making the best of it by doing a celebration at home as well.
Yeah, and I've seen, a lot of people have told me, yeah, that the rehearsal dinner that just used to be the wedding party is now everyone, and so it's a 3-day celebration. Are you guys seeing that in your bookings? Kristen, Lauren, who wants to jump in?
Go ahead, Lauren.
Yeah, I mean, destination weddings, I always sell that, right? That it's not just your 6-hour day or moment, it's a weekend. And people are totally on board with that, especially being away for so long. They have travel time saved up. Their PTO is kind of saved up. So they're willing to really get out there and disconnect. I've really seen honeymooners like turning off their phone. I'm trying to stalk them on Instagram. Like, are they there? What are they doing? And I see that people are really totally just checking out, and then they'll, photo dump when they get home. But I think that, yeah, everyone's up for an extended wedding party.
Are you seeing the same thing, Kristen, in the bookings?
We are, and we've had a few, like what you were talking about, a few smaller destination weddings over the last several weeks and months, but for ones that are coming up in the future, they're more along the lines of 35, 45 rooms, and these are for 2022. So that's what we're seeing for the future. But for right now, most of ours have been fairly small.
And now, may I ask, what new trends have you seen in terms of what couples might want in their destination weddings, in their honeymoons, or in just a couple's getaway? Or why don't we ask Rob, what does he want? Now, he's the consumer, so what would he like to do when he goes out on a couple's getaway?
I think most people want a combination of some things that are very active. They want to do some things that they can't do at home, that they can experience in their day-to-day, and they want some downtime just to relax and enjoy being around each other. And one of the things that is just kind of a mantra in our family is, when will I pass this way again? And sometimes you're at a place and you say, well, I don't know, that takes some work. I've got to get a transfer and I'll have to wear closed-toed shoes or whatnot. But then if you just ask yourself, when will I pass this way again? And you say, yeah, I think we will sign up for the surfing lessons. Yeah, let's go ahead and do the horseback ride, because you can't do that at home. And I think people just want a combination of that, some things that are active and new and different, and then just some time to relax and enjoy being together.
And after this year, you as a consumer, do you really want those much more of those wide open spaces to explore rather than the big cities?
I think it's about having experiences with people that you like being with, and not taking for granted that you'll always get to do that, or that those people will always be around. And so just not passing up on that opportunity. There's so many things we like to go and do and be, and I don't know if I'm supposed to answer that phone. We're in a bar. I could take a to-go order, but the experience of being with the people that you love and getting to do some things that are just maybe outside your comfort zone or outside of your normal exposure, I think people are more open to that. They've watched YouTube videos on it now. I didn't even know what YouTube was a year ago. They've read things online, and now they're just ready to go try and do some of those things. And like Lauren was saying, they've saved up some money because they didn't go on vacation last year. They have time built up that they want to get away, and people are just ready to get out and explore.
So are you seeing that, Lauren? People asking for more outside the box, these couples, when they go out and do their adventures and getaways?
Yeah, and even when I do a lot of all-inclusive, and even the conversations I've had, they do want that all-inclusive, but they want to make sure there's something to do. And just like Rob and Kristen were saying, they want to experience something. So I think that's really important as a travel advisor. We need to make sure we know the destination, the place, and the experiences that we can bring to life for them, that we can make easy for them. And I'm just excited to see people out there and experiencing. That's what I love about travel. So
And if I
Excellent.
can add to, one of the things I'm seeing from a business standpoint is they want the extras. Our clients want the VIP expedited through St. Lucia. If I have gotten more feedback on one thing in the last several months, it's been the VIP fast track through St. Lucia. Every time they'll send me back, that was gold. That was worth every penny I spent. And that's just one example. They want to be taken care of to the next level and to be provided with, you know, be made to feel special with their name, on a card stock, with, you know, waiting for them when they get off the plane. And I think we have to make sure that we're providing those opportunities for our clients, to let them know that they're out there, to give them those extra perks and amenities that are available to them if they choose to.
Richard?
I agree with everything that you both said. They want that cookie cutter pan thrown away. The reason we're using a travel professional is because for my boutonniere, I want a Phalaenopsis orchid. Even if I'm in St. Lucia, that's what I want. I want the flower that speaks to me, or my wedding, my language of love needs to be reflected in the destination that I'm selecting, and also in the property that I choose, or properties. Because what I love is when folks stay, they have the wedding at the family resort, and then their honeymoon spot, they're actually staying at the all-suite resort next door. So everybody can't come over and bombard them, especially when they're on their honeymoon. But I wanted to back Lauren up on that point as well. The travel professional has to know the rhythms of the various properties. So let me give you my bucket list very, very, very clearly. And I know jobs are hard to find. You know, I represent St. Lucia, but on my bucket list, the Amalfi Coast, right? Right? Dubai, I have to go back. I mean, didn't you see a lot of folks staying at that? It's a safari with the giraffes coming up. I mean, that may not be my bucket list, but obviously it resonates with a lot of folks. City of Love, Paris, have to go, and Costa Rica, as I told you earlier. So bottom line is, people want the bells and whistles. So into St. Lucia, there's that helicopter transfer. Kristen talked about the expedited service. I want to feel like a VIP. This is my day. This is our love story. I want to curate it, craft it. It needs to be bespoke, and I'm absolutely not happy for you to give me what my best friend had. It needs to be way better than theirs, because we're in the age of Instagram, right? So I think that's what folks want. And I think now more than ever, destination management companies are really an excellent tool for you to find out those little nuances that are available to the clients. I think it was Australia or Indonesia that had this campaign that spoke to not taking the very same photographs, the same touristy photographs, but doing different things. I thought that was brilliant. And oh, I forgot one thing. I want to go back swimming with the pigs in Exuma. You know, the folks in the Midwest, they actually consider that to be so much fun. But at the end of the day, we're all different. And I think that's the job of the travel professional and the romance designer, to make those matches.
Yeah, definitely. Now, are you guys seeing a difference? And again, these people are just entering the travel market, a difference between the younger millennials and the older generation Z, and what they want out of a romance booking. Lauren, do you want to speak to that? Are you seeing any?
sure.
What?
So, you know, there are glaring differences, right? I have, you know, the older clientele that is celebrating a very special anniversary, and they want to go all out. I mean, all out. They want to they know they might not go back to St. Lucia or Hawaii, but they are splurging on some of the nicest properties in both destinations. And I just speak because that was a few weeks ago, and they just really, it was just so easy done. Here's my credit card. Millennial, it's like, I saw this picture on Instagram and I want to go there. And, you know, they have a different idea of what they want. Budget is obviously part of their mentality when coming to travel. They have a lot of the champagne taste on a beer budget. So as a travel advisor, you kind of got to meet them halfway, get a little reality check in there, especially with TikTok and all these videos that you're like, this is not real or whatever. You really got to teach some of these millennials reality. And, you know, as we've seen, I'm sure Kristen, you've seen too, that availability is just, it is going away, right? And millennials think that we rolled out the red carpet for them, but, you know, you've got to kind of have a little reality there. So I think the older clientele understand that, whereas the millennial might need a little reality check in there.
And have you seen any of the younger people, the Gen Z, like 25 and under? Are they starting to book couples getaways, or are they still too young? What's going on there?
I don't know if that's my target market. I really haven't seen too many of those. I'm sure they're out there for sure. I just personally haven't booked them, you know, in the last few months.
And Kristen was nodding her head.
Tell you from being up here and guys, like the resorts that we've been in are packed. There are no upgrades when you get on a resort. There are no rooms. If something's wrong with your room, there's not another one they can move you to. So it's really quite full, and there are people out and about. But there's been some young ones around here. So I mean, I feel like there is at least as young as my kids, and or maybe even younger. So, and mine are 26, 24, and 23. So the young ones are traveling. The other night in the restaurant, we felt like the old people. So.
Sure. And
Because I turned on the flashlight on my phone to read the menu. That was.
Yeah. I know. Don't you feel so old? You're like, okay. And Richard, are you seeing a younger clientele coming into St. Lucia, or with interest at least in St. Lucia?
Absolutely, and I think we can definitely just state a fact that romance travel was definitely one of, if not the most resilient niches of travel for the COVID, and can we say post-COVID? We'll just say it as a working title for them. We have to be positive. So yes, absolutely, and I did absolutely get a number of data and intelligence that suggests that they certainly are looking for those properties that have the technology. So for instance, a resort that has an app, like a Kai Blanc Villa, or a resort that offers you that online check-in, so you don't have to go to a front desk. You know, these are some of the things that our younger counterparts, because I know Lauren wasn't calling Generation X old, but no, she wasn't. But they're looking for those touches, and certainly, as they do with the airlines, they're looking for those creature comforts, those tablets that are available at Sugar Beach or Viceroy Resort for you to be able to navigate your life on property, for instance, you know. And right across the globe, there are those resorts that are offering those extras to pull in that younger audience. But I will say, outside of the technology and those trends, people know when they're being genuinely treated as the VIPs that they know that they are. And so that resonates very well. And there are those destinations that just stand out as aspirational, you know, and there's so many of them. We all know them, and they constantly come on that top 10 list of places to go. But again, I think we have to do that great job of funneling folks through to what it is that really makes sense for them. And to Lauren's earlier point, the younger folks who may not have that budget that they aspire to having, this is where we're working on a gift registry sort of situation. So I think a travel professional can recommend these are some of the top activities to do, and why don't we share this with your circle? And especially for grandma who is not coming on the honeymoon, they could probably purchase it for you. I mean, or family members, when it comes down to that human connection, they want to support us and they want to give that gift that in 20 years you can say, remember that one time we went to Kristen, aren't you going to show us the thing to your to the left of your screen?
I can.
Yeah.
1 second and I'll show you where we are. So it's actually very cool. We're in the wine bar.
And
Right.
which resort?
We are at Nyara. There's 3 resorts actually in Nyara. There's the Nyara Tented Camp that's brand new. They just opened right pre-COVID. And then we have Nyara Springs, which is adult only. And then we are currently in Nyara Gardens, which is the family section of Nyara Resorts. And on a clear day, you can just see the volcano, the Arenal volcano right here over the shoulder to the front. It's gorgeous. The views are amazing, but it's a great place, you know, a very unique destination and truly something for everyone, even right here in this area.
And what other destinations have you been recommending to honeymooners, to your romance couples? What have you been giving top of mind for them?
So we've had a lot of clients in St. Lucia this since you guys have opened back up. It's just a great destination for romance travel. They love it when they come back. The feedback that we get from St. Lucia is amazing. Most people want to go somewhere that it's not impossible to get there or get home right now, and so ease of travel. And it's not, there's no really easy place to go, but as easy as we can make it and as less complicated as we can make it for our clients, the better. And so really that's what we've been trying to stick to as our team at Classic Travel Connection, is not only what's best for the client, what are they dreaming of, what do they want, who are they, and what, you know, what type of honeymoon or anniversary getaway do they want, but also going to be the least complicated way to get them what they want.
And is that also top of mind? Sorry? So Lauren, is that top of mind for your clients as well, the ease of travel? Is that what they're asking, one of their first questions?
Absolutely. And I think we all have a fear, even clients and brides, anyone COVID related, the fear of canceling again. I'm going to call it FOCA, F-O-C-A. It's a thing. They're scared of canceling again. So they don't want to necessarily go all the way to Italy or Europe. They're going to want to go to Mexico, Caribbean. St. Lucia is always a popular place to go.
And now for 2022, 2023, are you seeing European bookings for that, for those years? I don't know who wants, Kristen, do you want to jump in?
Just now started sending proposals for Europe and having those requests come in. So as soon as the word got out that the European countries were starting to open back up to us, then the requests started coming in, and that's been very recent. But yeah, I would say that's up and coming, and it's going to be good, honestly, because I feel like what we're looking at now is we have everyone in the whole wide world is ready to travel, and they're wanting to get out there, but the places where we've been able to send them is so limited, and so we have kind of this backup, and we don't have the availability that we're looking for. But now that the cruise lines are going to start cruising again and Europe's opening back up again, I'm hoping that we're going to start seeing a leveling off of pricing, getting that availability back for our clients, and that, you know, it's just we're going to start seeing some more normalization. But yeah, we have seen a good bit. We actually had clients last week, so we went after open.
And Lauren, what about your bookings?
Yeah, Europe has been this week alone. I've had so many Italy and a lot of people ready to get out there and go ahead and experience Europe.
Yeah, there's an echo somewhere. I can't figure it out. Do you guys hear an echo or is it just me? Yeah, maybe a tech check. But anyway, so we'll try to move along. So do either of you sell any cruise, and what's going on with cruising in terms of bookings? Kristen, I believe you sell some cruise.
We do sell some cruising, and I have not yet, to be quite honest, seen a surge of cruise bookings. We've had some, but not to the level of where they were before.
Okay, and Lauren?
Yeah, I think cruises, the people that have the credits and money tied up have already rebooked, and the people that had to cancel that did get their money back were planning to go on a cruising. They have reached out, and availability on cruising for 2021, I'm like getting the last cabins on uncruise on some of the more unique cruise lines, and it is kind of slim pickings on some of those river cruises as well for early 2022. So tell advisors out there, tell people that it is time to book and get some stuff on the books for your cruises in 2022 and 23.
Yeah, that's what we're hearing from the cruise line executives, that the advisors have to jump on this because they are sold out, these cruises for 2022, 2023, because obviously all the changes. And have you seen some that had been booking larger ships going into the smaller, more intimate cruising, or the couples, for example? Are they doing more river cruising? Has anyone seen that?
Yeah, I've seen some couples doing river cruising. I don't know if they really care too much, big ship, smaller ship. I don't think that's their main focus. I think, they're just like pent up, want to go to Europe, and, it's a definite bucket list destination to do a river cruise for sure. Even myself as a sort of millennial, I want to go on a river cruise now. I'm just like, let's go and do it.
Yeah, it is a great experience. It's beautiful. Has Rob and Kristen, have you guys gone on a river cruise as a couple?
Yeah, we have, and we had one that we were scheduled to go on last year, March 23rd. I remember it well. And if you've not done the experience, it's such a completely different product than what most people think of as far as ocean liners. And we can't wait to go back. We're anxious to go back to Europe. We had planned to go to Southeast Asia last year. None of that happened. So I think, again, what Kristen was saying is people have funds that they didn't spend. They may be looking for a different price level product. And I think that river cruising is probably going to benefit from that bump.
Yeah, and Kristen?
Costa River Cruise, now it's rescheduled for October of this year. So we're ready to go again. Very excited about it.
Yeah, I think river cruising is such a great product, especially for couples too, to just, it's an easy way to travel. You get to see all these beautiful, and you're really right there in the city. Yeah, it's wonderful. But cruising now, I mean, they have such amazing itineraries that, it just amazes me how during this past year, everyone just really upped their game and cruise lines have brought out amazing itineraries, destinations have brought out, like St. Lucia, all these amazing activities, hotels have renovated, or it's just like no one sat, back and said, okay, we'll just let this year, like everyone upped their game. And I think it's going to be amazing for all this pent up demand, for all these travelers. And I'm in Miami, so we have been getting, travelers, you can't find a hotel room here at all. Florida, everything is booked everywhere you look. Okay. It's insane. People have been traveling to Florida. I'm sure you guys have been booking Florida like there's no tomorrow. It's been crazy, I'm sure. And domestically, what's going on? What are some of the top destinations for romance couples? Lauren, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I think that, some of the really cool resorts and boutique properties that kind of offer an all-inclusive, it's not a true all-inclusive, but where your activities are and really pampered. I think that's been very popular for people that might not feel comfortable going abroad or just want to kind of stay closer to home. So, you know, your places like Charleston and Savannah. I'm on the East Coast, so I see more of that when people kind of want to stay closer to home. Those are just some of the top picks on the East Coast.
And Kristen, domestically?
Yeah, we have seen Amelia Island actually has some great little places for romance travel. Rob and I are actually going next month, no, August. We're going on the Rocky Mountaineer from Vegas to Denver, and it's not an adult only, but it is just us, just couples, and it is all inclusive. It's inclusive of your meals and your drinks, and so you know we're going to be on a wine train for 7 days, so I'm excited about it. So just try, and I think it's important for us to try different things so that we can then in turn recommend them to our clients, because it's so much easier to recommend something that we believe in and that we're passionate about and that we've experienced. And it's just important to invest in your business in that way, because anytime, and you know this, Lauren, too, anytime you travel somewhere and you experience it, you can sell it so much better. And so if you can just take the time and take the money and invest it to travel, your business will soar. And that's just my own personal experience.
Yeah, as a journalist, that's the same thing that happens. Yeah.
No, Kristen, you are so right.
We're all going to say the same thing. As an outsider in, I remember when she started her business and she was explaining to me what a fam was. I didn't know what that was. Fun ham, what's a fam? And but seeing when she goes places, and she can make it look like she just plays for a living, but she works harder than anybody I know. But you know, Richard, when we went to the Amalfi Coast, the amount of Italy that she booked immediately thereafter was incredible. When she stayed at Giraffe Manor, and then suddenly her Africa business just skyrockets. And you know, you may have to do a little convincing to a spouse or significant other that, hey, this really is an investment in my business, but it's so much more valuable when she tells people, I've been here and let me tell you this, as opposed to, let me look that up online and see what I can find out. And being that expert in those products, you can't put a price tag on it. It's incredible, the amount that it does for your business.
Yeah, that's very true. As a journalist, I see it. I mean, I can't write a piece as well if I haven't been to the destination for certain. So we are, wow, almost to the hour. So I want to jump in and actually start asking some of the questions from the audience. And one of the first questions, what type of intake do you do when starting with a couple? The information seems to be very intense. Are there forms you can find someplace? I don't know who wants to respond. Laurel, Lauren, you're nodding your head.
Yeah, so everyone has their own style. I personally love to connect with the couples I'm working with. So I set up Zoom calls. I have a calendar all set up, ready to go, and hop on a Zoom call. I also had my first in-person with a client yesterday, and it felt so good. I was so excited to like have a cup of coffee and chat about travel. So I know there are many agents that do it by form as well, but as the attendee said, it can be a little overwhelming and sometimes there's a little disconnect. So if you're comfortable on Zoom or on video, which I'm sure we've had all tons of practice with, I recommend getting either on the phone or on a Zoom call.
And Kristen?
I agree. I think it's so important because Lauren, just talking to you today, you can hear your voice, you can feel your passion, you can see your smile. And when you get to know someone and you connect with that person, and then just going back, they get to know you, then they like you, and then they trust you. And so having that initial Zoom call, face-to-face, phone call at the very least, is so important in making that first connection. And that is something that I learned through COVID, actually. And that is how we do things now, other than just a form or an email asking questions. It's so much more effective to connect with that person on a personal level.
So the silver lining from this whole crisis. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. So another question is, are you seeing more international destination weddings now or more domestic weddings? And what's happening for early 2022? I don't know who wants to take that. Lauren?
International for me.
Yeah.
International?
International. I actually don't do domestic weddings. So, you know, I found my ideal client and my business, and we just do international.
Excellent. And then I'm going to start this one off with Richard, but I'm going to go around. What is one tip you would leave us with going forward?
So you have to show up, as Lauren said earlier. You have to show up digitally, online. People need to feel your soul to know if you're the right fit for them. And I think, as Kristen just mentioned, it's connecting those dots. It's about credibility. And even if it is that you don't know everything, which you never do, and that's why we enjoy travel so much, there's always something new to learn. This travel expert will know exactly where to find it. And again, I'm going to make that connection to you and your team. Paloma, recommend. Thank you very much for the training that you give to travel professionals vis-a-vis our SLEC, St. Lucia Expert Program, and obviously our St. Lucia Expert Romance module. I mean, expertise is key. And there's just no better way to invest in your business than to have that expertise, the credibility, but also the connections to be able to service your clients professionally and competently. It is a business after all, not a hobby.
Well said, Richard. Well said. And Kristen, what is one tip you would leave us with going forward? Is the question.
I would say take risks. A good business person takes risks and do the things that may be counterintuitive and they may not make sense to a lot of people. When going back to Africa, I think Rob mentioned it. In November of 2020, I had the opportunity to go to Africa, and it took me that I didn't even know how much it was going to cost me. I was like, yes, I will go to Africa right now. And it was my first international trip in 2020. But it was a risk and it was worth taking. And so I would say take the risk, invest in your business, and do the work. Even if you don't have anything to do that day, sit down at your desk and work, because when you invest in your business, the bookings will come as a result.
And Lauren?
I would say education. I might be biased because I was a previous teacher, but I think taking the time, if you don't have the influx of bookings, they will come. And just like Richard said, get your familiarized, do your online training. But I think it's also important to get out there in the world. Now is the time, whether you're going to do it domestic or international, show your followers and get out there and experience travel so others can follow along and they will fall in love and want to book with you.
Excellent. Thank you all. Very well said. So we have time for a few more questions. I haven't really booked destination weddings up to now, but I'm being flooded with requests now. My frustration is that some resort brands that my customers have decided they want to go with aren't really back up to speed yet and not very responsive to my inquiries for package and pricing information. Any suggestions on how to expedite the process? Who wants to take that one? It's a mouthful.
It is frustrating, and I think we're seeing that across the board. Communication back to us is slower than we've ever had it before, and it's something that we're all getting accustomed to, and we're having to manage our clients' expectations based on the fact that we're not getting responses as quickly as we need to get the responses back to the client. So it is a frustrating situation. And to be honest, I don't know how to answer the question. I don't know how to, Lauren, you may know better. I mean, I wish I knew.
I just take a breath of patience. And I do think it's important to set the expectation with the engaged couple. So you've got to tell them, listen, there's been a pandemic. Staff isn't fully back yet. Like I was just in Mexico. not everyone's back working and everyone's kind of getting into this new normal. So I think we really need to speak to that as travel advisors. It's really our job to report how it really is out there. And, you know, brides I know can want it like yesterday, but just setting the expectation and being like, honestly, this is what the deal is, they'll understand. It's not just them, it's all of us.
Excellent. And Richard, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I think that's important. That goes back again to the authenticity. You are running a business, and it's very important to manage those expectations. It's just like pre-pandemic, when you were preparing folks to travel, you really have to let them know if something goes wrong, and something may, then we have a course of action that we can take. So I think the management relationship is very important for the clients. But also, again, it's to make sure that you are in touch with your DMO to make sure that you have those key contacts as well, but also to be very realistic. You have to know which resorts have been open and are at full capacity to be able to properly guide. But do keep in touch with your DMO for that, because if you're in business, that honesty factor is important. Kristen said it, it's the oldest sales adage: know, like, trust. It has not changed.
Excellent, excellent. And I don't know if somebody wants to answer this one last question real quick, and then I have to announce the winner, and then we're going to wrap it up. So how do you charge as a destination planner? Upfront fees, what do you do?
If we learn anything from 2020, guys, charge fees. Needs to be done.
Excellent.
I do the same. I have fees for different size weddings, and it is paid before I will even begin the process of working on the destination wedding. And that's for any vacation, actually, not just destination weddings. That's for everything. I will not provide a proposal for a client without a fee first.
Excellent, excellent. So we have the winner, and the winner is Tony Rath. Tony, T-O-N-I, Rath. So congratulations. An all-inclusive stay at the Iberostar. And that is it. That is a wrap. Thank you, Rob, for joining and giving your insightful information. It's awesome. And thank you all, Lauren, Richard, and Kristen. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. It's awesome conversing with you, and have a wonderful rest of the afternoon, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.